Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please give a warm welcome to the hosts of the SWA Happy Hour, Dom and Chris.
My, hey, hey. Rock and roll is here to stay. It's better to burn out than fade away. My, hey, hey. It's out of the blue and into the black. They give you this, but you pay for that. And once you're gone, you can never turn back. When you're out of the blue and into the black. The king is gone, but he's not forgotten. Yeah, this is the story of Johnny Rotten. It's better than burnout. Rust never sleeps. The king is gone, but he's not forgotten. Hey, hey, my. Rock and roll can never die. More to the picture than meets the eye. Hey, hey, my.
love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I am into ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, down, down. The flames went higher. It burned, burned, burned. That ring of fire. That ring of fire. Burning ring of fire. Went down, down, down. The flames went higher. It burns, burns, burns. That ring of fire. That ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet. When hearts like ours beat. I felt like a child. Oh, the fire went wild, and I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, down, down. The flames went higher. They burned, burned. That ring of fire. That ring of fire. I went down to a burning ring of fire. Went down, down, down. The flames went higher. They burned, burned, burned. That ring of fire. That ring of fire.
Okay, well, that was kind of a rugged start to the show. I don't know what's going on with the computer tonight. And I've got a Mac that's got so much RAM in it and everything, but I think it's Chrome. I think it's the browser that's being kind of a pain in the ass. So anyway, welcome everybody to the show. Thanks for joining me tonight, and I will let you know right from the get-go. Yeah, smart guy. It will be just me tonight. Dom is feeling under the weather. He has, the saga, he's had his neck done. Went in for a checkup yesterday, and it's all great news. The surgeon is really pleased. He actually not only took care of the vertebrae that were causing the problems, but in doing so actually made space for some of the other ones, and his neck actually is slightly longer than it was previously. Well, that's great news because it's not pinching the nerves. The problem is he was in this position for months and months and months, and now the neck is both a little longer and straight, and so he's having a lot of neck pain on the other side as the muscles are getting readjusted to being normal. So he's hanging in there, but he sent me a note before, and he said, dude, I hate to do this, but I'm just not feeling up to it, and I got to take some drugs, and like, it's fine. Didn't expect you. So anyway, and John may stop in the chat and say hi to everybody for a few minutes before he goes to sleep tonight, but that's what's going on. Now, Dom and I playing 2 cover songs on our acoustic. Why would I do that? Besides, we like hearing ourselves. No, the real reason is because this Saturday night, and I'll play the promo here in a minute, but we are going to be doing a live music show on Saturday nights for the next couple months. So it's myself, Dom, and Michael Songs will be the hosts, and we're going to do basically what Camp Gmail does. You know, an open mic Saturday night with a slight twist. We have invited some artists to start the program and play a 15-minute set. And so we'll have a couple artists do that. And then it'll be open mic. And so those of you guys who love live performing, come on, join us Saturday night. You vocalists or karaoke singers, you are welcome to join us. Harmonica players, you know who you are. You can come, fix your sound, but you're welcome too. And we're just going to have some fun on Saturday night. And we're just calling it Saturday Night Alive. And we're going to do that for, like I said, till 1st of January when Gmail comes back. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Do I have that? What the hell? I'll play the promo right now because I think I got a promo someplace. Yeah, hey, let's look at this, shall we? All right, and that is this Saturday night. So invite everybody to come and join us. Invite your friends, invite your family. Hell, invite people you don't like, and then you can make fun of them in the chat. So it's going to be a good time. Looking forward to it. I blame Dom, as I always do, for getting me into playing live and doing this. God, it's fun, and I really enjoy it, and it gives us an opportunity to share, in my case, stripped down acoustic versions of my songs, which are, you know, usually pretty heavy rock songs, and play covers that I like, because I don't do a lot of covers, but, you know, there's, of course, like everybody else, there's a lot of songs that I loved growing up or loved listening to, and so it gives me an opportunity to do a version of those, and it's going to be a good time. All right, I'm going to put a pin in this comment from Todd. Time flies by faster than you think. I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but got a couple things I want to talk about tonight. But that's one of them. Time does fly faster than you think. Who caught Michael's songs on Jade's program today? You can put in the chat if you saw it. I know Hugh Caldwell was there because I said hi to him, and I think a number of people were there. I think Dwight was there. I said hi to Dwight. It was fantastic. As I think everybody knows, I'm a huge admirer of Jade's interview shows because she's so skilled. She just does a terrific job. And she just has an ability to get into the artists and bring out their personality and bring out what motivates them and their creative process. And I missed part of it, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. But I caught all the second half, and it was just fantastic. And you guys have all seen Michael's songs perform. He's a great musician, great songwriter, has a ton of catalogs. He has his lovely wife Maria by his side at all times. You know, I mean, they go together like peas and carrots, as Forrest Gump once famously stated. And she was actually on the interview for a little bit, and it was just fantastic. If you didn't see it, go back and look at the replay, because it'll get you. You'll understand Michael a little bit better. You'll understand his process, and you'll just figure out, like we've already know, he's just a super great guy. And it was just fantastic. Yeah, couldn't agree more, folks. Love Jade. She is really, really good at what she does. And her show is just, I really enjoy the interview shows. And I keep going back because I missed a lot of the earlier ones. I wasn't part of the community, or I didn't know Jade really particularly existed. So I've been going back and looking at some of the really early ones. And, you know, so it's been interesting. And Jade has threatened, and she's already done one, of bringing people that were early interviews back on just to see what the change has been, what their progression has been, what's changed in their life, what's different about their music. And the first one was Rockin' Ronnie Ward, whose show just ended 30 minutes ago and who I was just texting with right before the show. And that was really cool because, you know, Ron was the first person to ever play one of my videos, one of my songs. Really got me going in this community, and, you know, has been a friend ever since. And Jade and Ron go way back. And so it was interesting to see where Ron is now versus where he was 3 years ago. Oh yeah, the threatened trip to Thailand. That should be interesting. The former Burma, right? So I missed part of the show because I was attending a funeral service for a good friend of mine. And this is and this is not going to be a bummer kind of thing. This is just kind of a matter of fact. Guy I've known for 31 years. He was, in real life, my business is publishing, and it's specifically in the train-related field. And this guy was a model railroader who I met 31 years ago. He and I shared an interest in a same obscure railroad, and we both modeled it and just formed a friendship. And, you know, interestingly enough, he really is a neighbor. He lived literally 3 blocks from me. So I would go over and hang out at his house, and we'd, you know, play with trains and do our thing. And he was very ill with COVID at one point, but survived it, and then was diagnosed with cancer and beat it. He was at my show that I think I talked about at the beginning of September. Talked to him. He was cancer-free. And I was just so happy for him, being a cancer survivor myself. And then he went to the doctor, like, for a checkup a month later, and they said, yeah, you were cancer-free a month ago, but it's come back, and you've got 6 months to live. And he went back like 2 weeks later, and they said, you maybe have a couple weeks. And he was gone 6 days later. So I tell you that to tell you this. You know, stay close to your friends. And we're not guaranteed anything on this planet. We're not guaranteed another day, another hour, another minute. When it is our time, it's our time. So enjoy the people that you have in your life while you have them in your life, because at some point they're not going to be there. That's just how it works. And of course, I'm of an age, I know I look like I'm in my 30s, but I'm a little bit older than that. And I'm at an age where I'm losing some friends to cancer and, you know, health things like that. And so I try and stay in touch with people as best I can and, you know, be a part of their lives, because, again, I'm not going to be here forever, probably just 30 more years or so, based on my family's longevity. But I want to enjoy my friends and family while they're here. So that's my message to you guys. And I'm again, Chad, I'm okay with it. I just want to be matter of fact. I'm bummed in that it happened so suddenly. I mean, that's where you go from. I mean, he beat cancer, was cancer free. All the tests showed it. And then 2 months later, he's dead. And that part of it was very hard to accept. And I'm still struggling with that part of it. But he had a very fulfilling life, wonderful family, wonderful wife, and everything. And I've made no secret that I'm a person of faith and everything. And my friend shared my faith, and so his brother just said at his service, we'll see him again. We know where he is, and we'll all be with him at some point. So that can give a little bit of comfort. But so, all right, enough of that stuff. So we talked about our time on the planet. We talked about Jade's show, which was fantastic. We talked about our show Saturday. Friday, let's talk about what's going to happen Friday on, I see my good friend Chadwick Freeman Esquire is in the chat. He and Conspiracy Music will have their show Friday. And here's what's cool. They have a great show where they play community artists. You show up in the chat and you say hi, and they grab one of your songs and they play it. Very cool. I love the way that they do that. But this week, they've put a twist on it. You show up in the chat and they're not going to play your song, but they are going to play the song that you request of another artist that you like. So I'm looking forward to getting in there, and I love so many artists in the community. I don't know if they're going to limit it to one request. I hope not, because damn, that's going to be hard. It's like, picking your favorite steak. They're all good. So I don't know which artist that I would pick, but I think it's a very cool concept, and I'm really looking forward to seeing, what everybody picks and what they play, because I suspect it will be a little bit different than a normal show, and I just think that's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun too. This is a good question. To use the same headset, I don't know. Chad will know. Hey, Steve-O, what's up? Steve-O. I noted, and I don't know if he was totally joking. I don't know. Actually, Steve-O, I think I'm not going to mention it. You had mentioned something in Jade's chat, but you're free to share it, but I'm not going to share it without you saying something. But if you do, we'll talk about it a little bit. But to your point, Todd, this was the cool thing about my friend's service. I was a train guy, knew him from that. We're neighbors. But he worked for a large company, a defense contractor. And so he had people from his work that came and spoke at his service. And he had train friends literally from across the country that came in for his service. And all the people that knew him here in Denver, and family, and just... and Zim will be appreciative of this. He was really into rebuilding Volkswagens, specifically the buses, some of the split windows, and he did several of them along with his Porsche 911. So he was into car restoration. So he had all those group of friends. And this dude, a little bit older than me actually, and he was still out skateboarding. I mean, big dude. He was bigger than me. He was Douglas. 6'3", 6'4", 250 pounds, a big guy. And he was on a skateboard, and he looked like a skinny teenager. He was born and raised in California, and the dude could skate. And so he had some of his skateboard friends there. So it was a life well lived. And it was interesting to see this group of 150, 160 people of all these different interests that interested him all come together and celebrate his life. So that was pretty cool. All right, new comments. Let's see. Okay, I appreciate you bringing that. I was going to get to that one next, but don't forget, on Chad's show on Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Going to be doing the ham metal show, which is going to be fantastic. I know we've got some hard rockin' artists in this chat, and Chad will be playing those and other favorites, or maybe people you haven't heard of that you can dig. But Chad always runs a great program on Saturdays. And I run all through this stuff because there's so much stuff going on, I can't keep track of it all. And I do my darndest. So, we like to take a portion of this show and just remind everybody stuff that's coming up. So, new metal show. Okay. I like new metal too. I like all metal. I mean, I'm an old school, like Steppenwolf, original metal kind of stuff, and then all the 70s stuff, and then on up through all the 80s hair band stuff, which wasn't some of the stuff I did, and then I was into new metal. So, and yeah, Zim knows this. The Volkswagen community, those guys are tight, and they know each other, and that was kind of the joke. My friend would get a project vehicle. He would take it down to every part, disassemble it completely, figure out all the parts that he needed, get those in. Now, he wasn't great about reassembling, and he ended up selling some partially completed projects because it was all there, but he found something else that he was more interested in, and so he would basically sell a kit car or a partially completed kit car to somebody else, and, those Volkswagens would get restored that way. So was very cool. I admired his, there you go, Hugh Caldwell on the 7-string. How scary is that? He rocks on 6 strings. Give Hugh Caldwell one more string. Wow, people. And yes, development of Void better be there. Damn you. I don't know if you're out there, Void, but we're watching you. You better be there. All right. All right, well, this is cool. Mr. Smith, gonna play some metal? Sign me up. And I'm not familiar with those other 2 artists, but if Chad knows them, then I know this, that they're quality musicians. So that's well worth seeing. Well, you're welcome. I don't know what I'm making real, but just life, man. Yeah, Nazareth. There's another one. There's another kind of a proto-metal band that maybe people don't think of them in that genre. Yeah, we got all kinds of good artists that are going to be doing this. Okay. Well, see? Get a new song. This is all good stuff. Well, what am I going to talk about tonight? Well, I have no idea. What do you guys want to talk about tonight? I mean, I have an idea, but I just kind of wanted to see where this would go tonight. And again, you guys have been on the show long enough to know Dom and I don't plan anything. We just go with the flow. We see what the community is interested in talking in, or things that are going on in our lives that we think are relatable to things that are going on with you folks. And by the way, how's my mic volume? Because last week I was a little low and I made a change. Hopefully I'm not killing you people. If it sounds about right, give me a 1. If it's a little loud, give me a 5. We can do that, Ian. And maybe a wig would be right for you at this point. I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about wigs. I'm not sure I could put a wig on. Maybe. Well, here, I'll tell you a funny joke because of the whole hair thing. I bought a bald cap because I was going to do a video in a bald cap because, right, that would be funny for me to do that. Couldn't get the friggin' bald cap on. There was no way to stick all the hair underneath. It looked like a cone head. It was ridiculous. And I forced it on, and it ripped because I didn't spend a lot of money for the bald cap. So, yeah, that was a fail. So, yeah, wig, what wig, right? So, oh, hey, now this is interesting. Hugh Caldwell knows people. That's very cool. Yeah, one of these days, when bands come up, I have roadie stories. I roadied for a little while, and I worked for some interesting people. So I've got a couple cool roadie stories. Did not work, never worked for Nazareth, so I don't know them. I did work for Uriah Heep, if you guys know Uriah Heep. That was, and it was interesting because this would have been 19, I want to say 82, 83. So, they'd been around for a while. So the band rolls up, and 4 guys in the band. You've got a guitar player, you got the bassist, the drummer, and the keyboard player. And the drummer and the keyboard player are, I'm in college, so I'm 20. And these dudes were old, in my view. They were probably in their 40s. I don't know, maybe. And then the 2 guys, the bassist and the guitar player, are they're kids. They're my age. I don't think either of them were like 24, 20. They weren't even that old. So you had these 2 dinosaurs and then these 2 kids, and that was Uriah Heep's lineup at that time. And if you guys are familiar with Uriah Heep's sound, man, they had that Hammond B3 and those giant Leslie speakers. And I can tell you from moving them, those Leslie speakers are beyond heavy. It took, basically 10 of us and dollies and everything to get them moved and into position. They were so big and so heavy. And then when he got hitting those things and the Leslie started whirling, the air pressure was unbelievable. I mean, it would literally just, it was like standing in front of a fan, a huge fan. It was crazy. The sound pressure levels were nuts, and it sounded so cool. And that's why I've got a chubby for that Hammond B3 with the Leslie sound. I love it. And I put it in my songs as much as I can because I just love that sound. And it was from working for those guys for a show. And I fixed his pedal on his keyboard. I was his hero because his pedal was broken. A lot of their equipment was kind of old and a little beat up. And, I'd had my soldering iron and everything. And it was just a simple resolder connection. But it got it working and saved the show. And he was all happy. So anyway, that was kind of fun. All right. Well, this is cool. Let's name drop famous people that we worked for or that we know or have associations. So mom's aunt's nephew had a friend of a friend who knows. Yeah. Okay. That's good. I know a guy who knows a guy whose cousin, whose friend. Yeah. Thanks, Axe. That's good. All right, so here's an actual celebrity sighting. So there you go. That's very cool. Hello, David. How are you, bud? Yeah. Here, I'm going to click this one up. Man, who doesn't love that Hammond B3 set? It's awesome. And then when you combine it with 2 giant Leslie speakers, damn, it's amazing. Yeah, it's man, you work your ass off. But it's fun because, man, do you get a great view of the show? I said people that were famous. There you go. Carlos Santana on a plane. Well, that's cool. I'm seeing if we got any other celebrity sightings. Okay. Oh, no, I missed one. There you go. Yeah, see? He roadied for Nazareth, so very cool. Yeah, it's hard work, but it was cool. That's how I found out. It was the show for, I want to say Randy Meisner, who's a former bass player for the Eagles. And this is how I found out I was afraid of heights. Didn't know it until I was in college. But get on the cherry picker because we got to do some work up in the rigging up there. And so up we go, and it's the gymnasium there at the college, and it's a 4-story roof, basically. Get up in the cherry picker, and I looked down, and I said, oh shit. I don't like this. This is bad. I don't like heights. Didn't know. So looked up, did what we had to do, and I was very happy to get off the cherry picker and get back down on the ground. And just that was the point in my life I realized I don't like heights that much. Now I've been on ladders and I've painted houses and walked across bridges and all that kind of stuff. I don't let my fear keep me from doing stuff, but I realize I have a healthy fear of heights. Hence, you don't know things until you experience them, right? Okay, that's cool. I don't know any of those people, but that doesn't mean anything. I don't know everybody, and I don't claim to. I don't even know if I want to know. Brett, friend that is painted like his house is painted like a cow. His guitar. Yeah, Rhett brings interesting factoids into the chat sometimes. Okay, now see, here's fun. How does Ian Anderson like his tea? Curious. I'm a fan of Jethro Tull. I love they're a lot of fun. Well, okay, Adam West. Now, interesting, because you hear mixed stories. Some people say Adam West was a cool guy, and then there's a lot of stories that he was, in fact, just actually a big jerk. Now, I don't know, maybe depending on what day you caught him. Yeah, and he's exactly right, because well, again, now I'm old and fat. There's no way I'm getting up on the rigging and everything. So yeah, you need young, thin people who are athletic and are not afraid of heights. So, well, that's cool. Corey Wells, I remember that name. Well, he had at least one really big popular hit, and I can't think of what it is. Todd, if you can remember what it is, put it in the chat. So, oh, here you go. Was he not cool like he was on Baker Street? Wasn't Mello playing his sax? He was a complete pound sign. Yeah. That's interesting. You never know. I worked with most of the people I worked with were really cool, and I'll drop two names. Charlie Daniels, coolest dude on the face of the planet. Honestly, was just unbelievably cool. I mean, he's a big star at this time. And two funny stories about this. Charlie Daniels was a big man. He was 6'3", between 6'3" and 6'5", and 350 pounds, no problem. Well, his guitar player at that time was a man named Tommy Crane. And they both played Les Pauls. And I mean, literally, these dudes were so big, these big, heavy Les Pauls looked like they were playing miniature violins. It was kind of a little bit comical, quite honestly. We always rented staging to do this, and they were both on the same side of the stage. And I'm looking at the other stage guys. I was stage manager at that time, and I'm thinking, I hope this staging can hold these guys, because we had all the speakers and all the gear up there, and then these two behemoths who were, between the two of them, 700 pounds, no problem. On one basically 8 to 10 foot section. I thought, if the stage collapses and I'm responsible for killing Charlie Daniels, that's going to suck. But the stage held. It was fine. That was the one thing. And then the second thing is, we're humping, we're getting him out, and Charlie Daniels comes off his tour bus and shakes all of our hands and says, fellas, you did a great job. I so appreciate you. Look, I mean, we have all this sandwiches and beer and everything. We were never going to eat and drink all this stuff. You fellas have busted your ass. Help yourself to whatever you need. I mean, how cool is that, right? He was a delightful human being. On the other hand, I worked for the Little River Band out of Australia, and every one of them, from their head roadie to their road manager to all the guys in the bands, were complete, total a-holes. It was, it was shocking to me because I really like Aussies, and I've never met an Aussie that I didn't like, except for these guys. And it wasn't a situation where, somebody was having a bad day. We all have bad days, right? Every one of them was a complete tool bag. Don't know why. I don't know. They didn't like the food, couldn't get Foster's. I don't know what their deal was, but yeah, that was kind of weird. Let's see what we got in the chat. Okay. We're booed off the stage. Well, yeah. Hey, you know what? Are you a real musician if you haven't gone to a gig and whoever you were playing for didn't completely hate your ass? It's part of the thing, and people a hell of a lot more famous than us have been booed. You just never know. I gotta put this up. You're so funny. I try and be a complete gentleman whenever possible. You never know. That's too funny. All right, here. Oh, well, there you go. Recognized by Bill Murray. Okay. Yeah, who hasn't smoked a joint with David Lee Roth, right? That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, just duck when the beer bottles start flying. Hey, the scene in the Blues Brothers where they're in the country bar and, people are throwing shit at them. I had a gig like that once. Yeah, that was, difference was there was no screen. They just, they'd throw at you and yeah, you just had to duck. Back in the day, that was the one thing we learned when we were, out touring and we were a cover band. No matter where you are, everybody likes ZZ Top. So we knew a bunch of ZZ Top songs. So, if people weren't digging our metal stuff, we'd break out the ZZ Top, and that usually calmed the beast a little bit, right? In my experience, everybody loves ZZ Top. Now, that may not be universally true, but that's my experience. One other thing that I wanted to mention, and Jade mentioned it on her show, but I think many of you know that Russ 8889 has, and he got some help from both Jade and I believe Brad Example, putting together a benefit album. And this album is to benefit teenage cancer survivors or people that are still in the hospital, young people that are still in the hospital. Worthy project. Again, I mentioned I'm a cancer survivor. I got a real heart for this. And Jade mentioned that she's going to start playing the album on her show next Thursday. There won't be an interview. So I'm looking forward to that because I really wanted to be on that album because I have a heart for it. But I work a little slowly, and I didn't have the right song for it. But I came up with the right song for it, I felt like 2 weeks ago. And I knew it was far too late to get it on the album, but I felt like, well, that I would have put it on the album. I'm just going to do the song. I'm going to finish it. And I was basically done with it a couple days ago. And in SWA, Folk Punk mentioned that there might be the possibility of getting a song on there. So I contacted Russ, and he in fact said, if you can get it to me by Thursday, you're on. Well, I got it to him yesterday. And so my song is going to be on that. And I'm kind of honored that in fact it'll be on there. And my song made 43 songs on this album. And when Jade submitted, but I'm not the last minute Charlie. It turns out Jade's not quite finished with her song. So she's going to be the last one on. And so that will make it 44 songs on this album, which is amazing. And for those of you that are into numerology, 44 is a very cool number. It's a power number. It's a balanced number. My son wore number 44 when he scored the winning touchdown in their game and won the high school championship here in Colorado. 44 is a great number, so I'm thrilled about all of that and just honored to be a part of it. And I've heard a few tracks that are going to be on this album, and they're amazing. And then mine, but so let's see. What am I missing? Okay, that's fun. Sometimes bar owners don't think things through, right? You know, I'm getting the picture of that, Zim, and that's pretty funny actually. Well, now probably wasn't funny at the time. Yeah. All right, let's see what else is going on in the chat. I'll never meet a rock star. There you go. Zoomed with Hugh Caldwell, which is a great experience. Mozzarella. It's very cool. Chatting with Hugh. And Hugh can live stream now. So, not doing anything Saturday night. Just saying, Hugh. Come on up, big fella. Yeah, well, see, Germans versus the Scots. I could. Here's a little known fact. I mean, the Irish, you see in St. Patrick's Day parades, they're wearing kilts now, but that's bullshit. The Irish did not wear kilts. The Irish wore, basically tights like you see in Robin Hood. That's what the Irish wore, leggings. The Scots wore the kilts. So when an Irishman tells you, hey, I'm wearing my kilt, a little suspect, I'm just saying. Trying to keep it moving, trying to keep it interesting. Aloha, Steve Harloha. Good to see you, man. No, Steve been working a lot lately. He's been doing his commentary show that he does with his buddy, but hasn't done as many music shows here of late because he's a busy man. Plumber, what he does for a living, he's in demand. So anyway, pronunciation is your dignity. Okay. Very good. Hey, Tony Howe. Good to see you. How are you? You, sir, are invited Saturday Night Live to come play a little bit with us. We would love to have you. One word. Amazon. You'll have it tomorrow. Big fan of Amazon. Although I just ordered some stuff from Sweetwater today. You guys use Sweetwater? Sweetwater is a great company. My nephew has always played a little bit, and he bought himself a really cool Ibanez, and he's getting into it more. So for Christmas, got him a cool guitar strap, got him a guitar stand, got him some strings, just, string winder, basic stuff that young guys need and don't have around the house always. So that's going to be his Christmas stuff. And so I got on and ordered with, and I needed another guitar stand. So got on Sweetwater, ordered it, and of course got a call from Matt, my friend at Sweetwater. Hey, how's it going? Let me know if there's anything I can help you with on the order. And then I'll get the order and there'll be a piece of candy in there. And I'm a big fan of Sweetwater. I think they're awesome. So. Huh. Wow. Yeah, well, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier, Mixed Club. We all have an expiration date, or an expiration date even, and some of our friends have hit that, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think Sweetwater rocks. I needed a little musical gear for the convention that I put on. We needed some PA stuff. Especially for the ending ceremony where there's 500 people in there, and man, Sweetwater had great stuff, shipped it right out, that are fantastic. See, Yep. They're awesome people there at Sweetwater. Yeah, well, they have two things. They have all their new gear, which is fantastic, and then they have a tremendous selection of great used gear, and I find it's quite fairly priced. Again, I don't buy a lot of gear, just because I have everything pretty much that I need. But, when I need something, those are my go-to guys. And I'm a big, big fan of all of that. Yeah, I will remind everybody, if you're on Dom's channel, you're missing any of the chats that are on my channel. And if you're in my channel, you're missing some of the Dom chats. I see everybody's, so I'm not missing anything. So if I'm responding to something you don't see, that's why it's in the other channel. And I wish that this is one thing that I dislike about StreamYard is when you go to multiple channels like this, some people are missing the chats in there. And there's rumor that that's something that they're going to address, and I hope that they do, because I think it would just make a better experience for everybody. And as much as I gripe a little bit about StreamYard, hung out with Axe and Nacho, and he used a program called Restream. And it was great because he needed it for his birthday bash. It was free, so it was a price he was willing to pay, and I completely understand that. But it did some weird things. There were some audio issues that were a little bit of head scratching. You didn't have the controls in some ways. It set the volume for you, and you didn't have any control over it that we could find. And it did some weird things in the chat too. But for free, I think it was a 7-day trial he had it for, it was fantastic. It was well worth the price he paid for it. No question about that. But so yeah, that most people are probably in Dom's chat rather than mine, and that's fine. But you don't have to come to mine. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm broadcasting to both. Yeah, I was just starting off. The computer was glitching when I jumped back and forth between StreamYard and setting up the videos, and I'm not sure why. But I don't think we're having issues now. I think everybody can hear me fine, and we're going on, and life is good in that respect. But, all right, let's see what the dog paw is up to. Got busy wiring up new pedals. All right. Got it like that. Oh, there he is. There he is. We were talking so nice about you earlier, Michael. So now that you're here, that ship has sailed, bro. When you're not here, we're going to talk really nice about you. But to your face, I don't know. But it was a great interview. I really enjoyed it. And you just got back from band practice or something, right? I don't know if you're interested, but I'm going to make a kind of an open invite, and feel free to say, bro, I'm tired. I've been on all damn day. But I was going to spend some time talking about the creative process a little bit. And if you're willing to come on and talk for 15 minutes or so, Michael, that would be great. And I'll share some of my thoughts, and we'll get some of the chat involved in there. But we're all creatives here. Even those of you that are in the chat who I know are not musicians per se, I know many of you are painters or artists and other things, and the creative process is the creative process. So I wanted to spend a little time talking about that, and just how that works for everybody. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he was playing drums for the last 3 hours. Yeah. Well, you may just be too tired, and feel free to say, bro, no thanks. I'm good. See you Saturday, man. That's completely legit. Got no issue with that. I'm going to shoot you a link real quick, and you can do with it what you will. He says, as he can't find the window that he shut. And he's looking at things, and this is scintillating when you're by yourself and you're trying to do things. It's not as smooth as when you have a partner to take up the slack. But yeah, bang a gong, get it on. Oh, does that often means someone is here. Dual delay. Well, that's pretty cool. Dogpaw has good toys. Check out the Dogpaw's channel. The guy, he's like, he's a grumpy old man. Let's just be honest about it. He's a grumpy old man. But the dude can play guitar. He's got some amazing stuff on his channel. And if you want, he'll teach you how to eat while you're at it. So, because he's big into that. That's one thing I wanted to talk about. I've got my sleeveless shirt on, and it's because I was working out earlier. Because I'm in a race. The guy that I'm racing may not know that he's being raced, but I'm in a race. You guys been hanging out with on the Heavy Metal Hippie channel know that he's had some health issues, and he's making a really concerted effort to eat better, lose some weight. He's trying to get down to 200 pounds by his birthday, which is in June. Hey, Jorge, how are you? I also have a birthday in June. I think my birthday is a week after hippies. It's pretty close. And I also am looking to get down to 200 pounds. Now, I got a little farther to go than he does. But, of course, I have both my legs. And one of my legs weighs a lot, probably. So I have been working on eating better. I've always eaten pretty well. But just working on eating less, little intermittent fasting, and working out. I love lifting weights. I love doing all that stuff. So I get home, the wife and I, we go work out, and then I make dinner, and like on tonight, worked out, made dinner, boom, set up the show, off we go. So, yeah. We're always going to talk about food on this show, because carnivore, there you go. All right. Well, now, one thing, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dogpaw, but you were never big. I think you were always on the thinner side. You may have had other health things that you decided to do it for, but it wasn't because you were a fat ass. It was just that you wanted to change your eating habits and get a little healthier, which I'm a big fan of. Nope, missed. I was going for this one. The faceless guitar guy. Yeah, well, sometimes that's, some people have the opposite. My wife, God, because I took over cooking because of her health issues, and she was, to the point where people in the family were concerned that she had bulimia or something like that. That was not the case. She just couldn't keep the weight on. But I've done a good job feeding her, and she's at a very nice, healthy weight now. And it's funny because she will oh God, I'm such a fat ass. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You weigh 118 pounds. And she said, I know that rationally, but I was underweight for so many years that my mind, I have trouble accepting that this is how much I weigh. So I get that. I haven't been 200 pounds since I played college football. So, actually, that's not true because I played my last year there. I was 223 when I played. So, but I want to get down to 200. At my age, they ain't no reason to weigh 230 pounds. Well, of course, I weigh a little bit more than that, but. Interesting. And you feel good at that weight, and that's working for you? Because here's my son played high school football. He decided not to play college football, But his senior year, he played at 240 and got a little heavier than that when he quit playing. I think when he went on his trip to China, I think he was probably 250. But he got down to 180 and honestly just didn't feel that great at 180. Just he needed to be a little heavier than that, and he's right about 192 or 93 now. And he said, this is a weight that feels good for me. And I think he's 1 inch taller than I am. But yeah, well, I'm a big proponent of the muscle mass, and that's the thing. It just appearance. It bugs me because my muscle mass is still good, but because I've lost a little weight, skin's a little looser, and I don't love the way my arms look. But you know what? How vain are we all? I got to admit, I'm a little vain. Not hugely vain, but a little bit. So anyway, muscle goes the wrong way. Well, yeah, you say that, but if your testosterone is at a decent level, lifting weights, studies have shown, is fantastic for older folks, both men and women. Helps with balance and coordination, and keeping that muscle mass is a good thing. So, Lady Campion. Yeah, and I feel you, Lady Campion. She had has autoimmune things, and which celiac disease certainly is, and they're all related. And so, I so understand. And it's hard, especially when people will look at you and go, what's wrong? Why are you so thin and everything? Or the other thing, and you probably got this too. My wife gets this all the time. Oh, you're so small. I hate you. My wife's like, I'll trade you. You want to have my disease and be as thin as I am? You might like being a little fat and happier. Just saying. So, people, they're trying to be nice, but sometimes they say stupid things. Yeah, I get it. See? Yeah, exactly. Lady knows. Great having you in the chat, too, by the way, Lady Campion. And here, I'm just making invites. Saturday night Alive. Feel free to come on and grace us with your magnificently beautiful voice. Love for you to join us Saturday night. That would be... Yeah. Yeah, it's weird where you get, used to something. In that, all right, this guy is a warrior. I'm going to bring him up without any ado. You know him, you love him. Can't live without him. It's Michael. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
You're on your feet, which is amazing. Find a chair, sit down.
I'm actually sitting right now. I actually did
Okay.
sit down. Yeah.
You've earned a sit down. You have been a busy, busy boy today.
Yeah, it's a bit of a big day.
Yeah, fantastic interview. That was just amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, Jay did a phenomenal job of making me feel comfortable without my guitar and not being able to just hide behind the songs, which is what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. It's funny that people go on, and she is so great about making you feel comfortable. I remember watching Viv Sparrow's interview, and Viv is a fantastic talent. She was so nervous for a while there. It was funny, and of course Jade was great, and she was fine after a while. But it always astounds me that polished performers can get in a different setting like that, out of their comfort zone, and it's a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, because when you're, singing and playing, you're not thinking that you're talking, right? That you're performing a song, and
yeah, you're doing your thing. Exactly so. Now I remember my interview experience was interesting because when she contacted me, I'm like, are you sure? Is this a mistake? Because I felt like I was an absolute nobody that nobody had ever heard of. And
Oh,
so,
ditto. Yeah.
yeah, it was, it was very, but again, she is so great. And I had a great time. We talked for 2 hours.
Hmm.
We could talk for another 2 hours. It was just out of sight. So, yeah.
Yeah, yours was one of the ones that I went back. So I had watched a bunch of Jade's interviews already just because they're awesome. But then when she asked me to do one with her, I was like, oh, I got to go back and watch a whole bunch of older ones. First move I did was like, I know Dom did one, I know Chris did one. Let me go find out, see how my buddies did up on there.
Yeah, well, personalities are the personalities. Now, here's the interesting thing I learned from the interview because you learn
Hmm.
things. You're a Cancer,
Hmm.
as am I. What's your
Nice.
birthday?
It's July.
Okay, see,
So, yeah.
there's two. See, I'm late June, and there's
Mm,
kind of a cutoff within cancers. And I bring this up, not that I particularly believe in this, but you and I are different personalities, different temperaments, and everything. So it's interesting
hmm.
that we're both cancers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. There's that overlap in that, but I meet all the criteria for that part of mine where it's like calm and centered and um, focused inward, and home is wherever you're at, kind of thing. Hi, Maria's
Yeah.
home.
Hey, Maria. Tell her she was great too.
Chris says you were great as well on Jade.
Yeah, so that was fun. And that's what's great about those interviews. Like I was telling everybody before you got here, you get to learn a little bit more about the artist and, how they think and, where they got to where they are, which
Hmm.
I always think is fascinating. I mean, you've been a musician for a very long time, and your journey's interesting. And again, the typical, I say this: every drummer I know plays guitar or wants to play guitar. And of course, a lot of guitar players want to play the drums. I don't know why. It's like,
I just want to play everything because music is fascinating. So I wanted to start on drums, but I just couldn't afford a drum set. So I started everywhere else and then got a drum set, and that's my happy place.
very cool. Yeah. Now, let's see if people like me, this is a bass player. I just want to play bass. I
Hmm.
play guitar, obviously, but I, even after all this time and how much guitar I play, I don't think of myself as a guitar player. I just don't. And
Yeah.
I have two guitars behind me, and the bass is off in the corner there. But I think of
Uh-huh.
myself as a bass player.
Yeah, and you play guitar well and you write songs well on guitar. But yeah, I mean, same for all I do, and most people, especially on YouTube, think of me as a guitarist and a singer, and I'm like, I think of myself as a drummer.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, why I invited you up is you guys hit upon it a little bit in the interview, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to expound a little bit. You have written so many great songs, and
Oh, thanks.
I wanted to get into the artist's creative process a little bit, how we think about things, what inspires us. And you shared a couple in the interview, so you don't have to go plow that same ground, but maybe take a couple minutes and just talk about how you get inspired to write a song. What works for you? Do you have a set process or is it different? Or,
It's definitely fluid. It changes depending on the song and the reason for writing it. Also, you can tell that Maria has come home because I just turned my iPad on and came on, and I was all covered in shadow. And she walks in the door and she's like, "Hang on here, get some lighting
I,
going."
I figured, yeah, again, I was not going to critique any lighting or anything else. I was just happy you decided to come on for a few minutes.
Yeah, but for writing, I mean, it sometimes I could be triggered by a line either that someone says or that I hear myself. I can be affected by a book I'm reading or a movie I'm seeing where I just all of a sudden picture. Usually, it's like an interpersonal relationship of some sort, whether it's based around a happening or just the relationship itself, and then I instantly want to write what that is. And it starts from different places. Sometimes it's the melody, sometimes it's the lyrical content and the story, and sometimes it's just a vocal cadence that I hear. Like, I know what I want it to be about, and I know I want the vocals to have this rhythm.
Hmm.
So it's, yeah.
No, it's very cool. And yeah, it is a different. I've been actually starting to study the songwriting process, and
Mm.
mostly because I don't know that I could learn to do things differently, but a little affirmation that the way I do it is not weird. And
Mhm.
it seems like there is some commonality. A word can trigger, I've told the story many times. My song Scars
Mhm.
completely triggered by something Hippie said, a throwaway thing that he did, and it just hit me as profound at that particular moment, and it stuck in my mind. So,
Yeah.
uh,
So do you typically, when you write, do you write the same, like, do you have a way that you always go about it, or do you change it up depending on the song?
I, I think it does vary a little bit, but I think for me mainly is I'm a hooks guy. There's something that
Mhm.
hits me, and I'll get that will be my basis. There's a hook, and sometimes I can hear the music hook in my head, sometimes I can hear the vocal hook or the melody hook, but it's got to be the hook. I want something to grab, and that was true for Scars. The song that I just submitted to the Russ album, it's called Stronger, and I
Mhm.
just that was the thing I just heard in my head. You're having cancer, but you get stronger. That, and of course, that's the old Nietzsche line. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. And I just that one word hit me, and I kept playing in my head. And then all of a sudden, I'm on vacation with my wife and my sister-in-law in Steamboat Springs, and I had the electric, and I just played a little riff, and I went, boom, that's it, stronger, stronger.
Nice.
That but yeah, for me, I think it's mostly hooks
Mhm.
that kind of get me going. Now, again, sometimes I'll play a little guitar riff or a guitar progression, and it'll sit for months because I don't know what to do with it. And then all of a sudden, the lyrics hit me. Let me ask you this: Do you how do your lyrics flow? Do you have a basis of lyrics, and do you struggle with it, or does it tend to flow all at once?
I almost never struggle with lyrics. It usually comes out 5 to 10 minutes. The story's there and the lyrics are there. I used to not ever go back and edit lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
and then in 2021, I started doing the songwriting sessions with my friend Vance Gilbert, and he was like, "We're gonna go back and look at, how we can tweak lyrics." So now I do that. Now I write a song and I go back in and I look. Because even things that you might miss yourself, the tense, you might change the tense,
Yes.
and all of a sudden go, "Well, why did you change the tense? Was that a decision, or did you just stop thinking about what tense you were supposed to be in?" And then that makes you look at it different. If you change one word, then you also have to go back and look, does that word make me change the perspective, and is it important? So yeah, I only spend time on lyrics afterwards now, just kind of saying like, is there anything I can clean up? But they just flow out. I picture a whole story in my mind. It's like you watched a movie, but you never remember watching the movie. Just all of a sudden, the entire memory of the movie is in your head. That's kind of how the songs are there. I'm like, oh yeah, obviously the song. Let me just write it down.
That's very cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I'm in the same way in that lyrics, as a rule, come very easy for me. Once I have
Hmm.
whatever the basis is or what the song's about, and this comes as a shock to no one who's been on the show for 10 minutes. I have a lot to say about a lot of things. And so, yeah, that's not a challenge for me. Now, going back and editing, yeah, I completely agree that that's a good thing to do. I tend to write them almost exactly the way they're going to get performed, but I have found a couple times now by
Yeah.
playing them live, I can improve them. I can improve the cadence.
Hmm.
It helps me work that. And of course, this is the SWA show, and I got to put a plug in. I put stuff in SWA, and inevitably somebody will hear a little something in, like this last song I was just talking about, Stronger. Dom heard something and he said, "Dude, I know where you're coming from, but that particular line might not be well received by somebody who's in the hospital right now." And I thought about it,
Hmm.
and he's a cancer survivor, same as me, and I agreed with him. I thought, you know what, that's right. I can relight write this one line, say basically the same thing, but use different words, and then change the following line, and we're good. And that's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It somebody else's perspective, their eyes and ears on it can always affect. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I love being part of SWA is getting to see those songs and their progression. And I mean, there's so many great songwriters in that group. It's awesome to see all the people that drop stuff in there.
Yeah, hello, starting with you. And of course, Dom, who is, I'm hoping, sleeping right now. I hope Dom is not hearing any of this and will check the replay because he was hurting a little
Yeah.
bit today.
Mm,
But yeah, it's like I said at the beginning of the show for people that joined us late, he's doing great. The surgery was a complete success, but now his neck has
mhm.
got to get used to being normal, and it's going to take a couple weeks probably. And
Yeah,
he went
absolutely.
on with Axe and played and sang, which I mean, I was half asleep.
Hmm.
I just watched the hockey game and you know I'm listening to him play and I'm so used to him playing and then halfway through I'm like, oh son of a bitch, he's singing. Is he supposed to be singing? And of course I'm texting him going, dude, are you? Is this okay? Are you? And he's like, a doctor said I'm fine to do this, but you know he felt like he was a
Hmm.
little rusty and he probably was, you know, because he hadn't played, hadn't sang for almost 2 months. But
Yeah, all those things considered, he sounded pretty good. He was a little bit like, oh, I messed up this, I messed up that. It sounded pretty good, Dom.
you get a
It's
pass, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounded good
exactly.
by anyone's standards,
It was
and
just,
then
it did
knowing
my,
what he went through, it's still
oh,
good
yeah,
for Dom's standards.
it did my heart good to see him, you know, be
Hmm.
there and perform. I thought, I was happy to just see him hang out. And it's like when he grabbed the
Yeah.
guitar, it's like, well, damn, okay, cool. You know, but then of course my mother instinct kicked in. It's like, okay, take your time. Don't push it. Be smart.
Yeah,
You know,
just
because
do
I want him
one,
to be
relax.
100% and come back and not have any
Hmm.
lingering issues. But you
Yeah.
know, now we'll see if I ever have something like that and see how well I do in following my own advice.
Yeah, whenever that stuff happens, as soon as you're feeling a little bit better, you're like, oh, let me go back and do all the stuff that I haven't been able to do.
All right, now let's talk some mechanics on songwriting.
Sure.
I mean, you're really a good guitar player, and you just have come up with some great riffs and everything. And
Oh,
you
thanks.
mentioned that the process is different depending.
Hmm.
Talk about one of your songs that you had a killer guitar riff, and then you wrote the songs, and then vice versa, where you felt like you had great lyrics and you had a little melody line, and then you made the guitar fit what you wanted to say.
Yeah, so the great thing about this guitar that I have now, the Mahogany Martin, it just sounds and feels like an extension of me. So I write the vocal and the guitar part together almost always. It's sort of a melody and a rhythm that I hear and
Yeah,
just oh, Dom. Hey Dom. Um,
love you, man.
it's whatever part is not being done by the other.
Uh,
So like wherever the vocal leaves off, there's a guitar part that sort of carries that. Um, so like one quick example, I'm not set up for like sound playing or anything. This is just my iPad, but a song I have called Unresolved. The chorus when I first wrote it was just, "Can you afford me just a little more time?" Just strumming. But then I realized as I did it, I'm like, I have to Michaelify it a little bit, which means add extra unnecessary notes to carry a melody. So then it's, can you afford me? It's just going,
yes.
so I just add those little couple of notes here and there, and it doesn't even have to be a full melody written on the guitar. All of a sudden, it sounds like you have a melody going because between your vocal and these little extra notes added onto a chord, you get this flow that happens. So that's kind of how I do the thing that I do. Um, that I think is what you're asking, and it's
Yeah,
how I make it.
and that is fantastic. And I think that's one of the things that why people find your music so appealing is you do add those little extra notes and it's just not again, not a clown like me who's just kind of strumming along campfire style and singing. You've got all these added parts and it just makes it so rich. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I have to cheat and I have to do it, you know,
Thanks.
by doing multiple guitar parts recording wise. And you're doing it all live in real time. I just think it's appealing as all get out.
Thanks. But I mean, I think that's the thing. Everybody does it. Everybody does their thing different. So as long as you're doing your thing, so I can do those live, and people think that it's like impressive or whatever. But I can't sit down and write four different parts that intertwine well on a recording. So you do that phenomenally. So you don't need to add extra notes onto your chords. You can play your chords and then add an awesome bass line and then add a riff on top of it, and you know how to do all that, and everything I've heard you do, it sounds so produced, just like people that go into a studio with a producer and get it all done. You finally place all the things correctly, and I
I,
can't do that. So,
I appreciate it. Wait, you could by doing it. That's how I learned to do it, just by doing it and doing it
mm,
and saying that sounds crappy. Why doesn't this sound like the records that I grew up listening to? Why doesn't this sound like what I hear in my head? And I just kept working it until it started to sound that way. Like everything else, just practice. And so
I'm
yeah, we were
in
we were
case you
talking.
missed it earlier, I'm terrible at practice. I can't practice guitar. I only write songs when I sit down. So
Yeah, I got that,
practice,
which
nah.
honestly, that was a statement where I thought if I didn't know Michael, I'd say that was bullshit. But I know that you're an honest man, and that's in fact, and all the more impressive. Like,
Mhm.
wow, you
Yeah,
really,
I've tried it before. I'm like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna practice guitar, and then I'll get as far as going like, oh well, that's a pretty chord, and then oh, I could write a song about this guy that works in a church, and his wife passed away, and then that's it. That's the
off you
end of my
go.
guitar playing practice. Yeah, it's completely
Again,
done
it really
with
works.
practice.
Well, now see, Tom, you know my rule. If somebody's not here, you just talk really nice about them. We didn't think you were here, so we're talking nice. Now that we know you're here, you lazy prick. What the hell are you doing? You loafing dog. No, we love Dom. And he asked, and you answered it kind of a little earlier, but he asked, does the music or the words slightly lead a new song? And you said, depends.
Yeah, because it's almost always like I don't want it to sound like a cop out answer, but it's the vibe that leads the song first. There's a mood, and I have to create that mood. So it's like the story and the lyrics are happening in my mind the same time as I'm trying to play some sort of music that matches that. And as
Yeah.
soon as the two click, then I just start writing out the words, even though they were sort of already there.
Yeah, isn't it cool when it clicks for you and you just go, yep, that's it. That's what I
Hmm.
wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fantastic feeling. You're like, I don't know where that comes from or how that happens, but I know when it's right. And then if it's not right, I just keep looking for something else.
Well, I
So the
was,
story, so that would be the
yeah,
answer. The story always comes first for me, and then based on what the story is, then I guess I determine what's most important, the actual music or the words. They kind of happen together, but one will take prominence based on the type of story.
yeah. Well, and I was looking at an interview with Sting, who I'm a big fan. I love the Police. I love Sting. And he said something along those lines where he said, I've studied this and I practice and I do all this stuff, but then there's an element of magic and I can't explain how it happens. But when it does, it's amazing. And I thought, well, here's a dude that's made all these platinum albums and written all these great songs and he doesn't understand it and it's magic for him.
Hmm.
And I went, okay, that's really a pretty cool feeling. That
Yeah.
yeah, I like that a lot.
You know when it's right and you know when it's wrong, so you just try to
Yeah.
stay in between there.
Yeah, it is, and it's fun when it hits. Like you said, just like, oh, that's what I was trying to do. Yay! I saw something. Yeah, dog paw.
So did you, while I was off playing drums and you guys started, did you, I'm sure you promoted Saturday night already? Yeah.
I did, but feel free to remind everyone how friggin' awesome it's going to be, and maybe explain that we probably will do a little bit of a split shift host wise.
Yeah, so typically, me and Dom are on the East Coast and Chris is out on the West. So Chris might not always be there at the very beginning. but we'll certainly. I'm assuming the plan will be we're going to open. If people don't know, it's going to be an open mic night, but we're going to start with some sets. So we're gonna invite people first, and we'll each do like 15-minute sets, and then we'll drop the link in the chat, and it'll be a regular open mic night to anyone who's in the chat at that point. So I'm assuming we're going to keep the sets going until you show up, because I'm sure you want to do a set.
Eh,
So
maybe not.
oh.
I've heard me
Well,
play.
you're a host, so you can always come in at any point and be like, it's time for me to do a set.
I could, but chances are I won't do that. Chances are I will, I'll play like everybody else when it's appropriate. But I've gotten energized by live playing, and what I hope to do with this, and you and Dom, who've been doing the live thing for a while and are great at it, to get people like me going, I can do that. I'm energized by that, and I want to come on and do that and share my music in a live format like that. That's kind of my goal, is to just be very inviting to people. And if your sound isn't perfect, we'll work with you. We want you to come on and basically try new things, expand what you're doing. And I think that's where the reward is. Take some risks, and you never know what can happen.
Yeah. No, Maria will ask me often. I'll hop up on shows or when I do my own live streams where I'm like, I'm going to play these 5 songs that I haven't played in 2 months. Just see how it goes. Because again, I don't practice, but also the songs, as you said before, the more you play a song, and especially playing it live, you start learning all these things about the song that you thought you already knew. And you start finding these little avenues that you can go in, these little dynamic shifts that can happen. And that comes across a lot better when you feel like you're performing it instead of just sitting there by yourself working on it. So yeah, people pop on up, try out your new stuff, play the stuff that you think is your best stuff if you want to do that as well. And I'm always impressed with hearing everyone's original songs. So anybody that writes original songs, please come up on Saturday nights and play some original songs for me, because I really dig that. I enjoy the covers as well, but I really like to hear what an artist or musician does themselves, what they create, because a lot of times there's a different sound there. If you cover a song, you not everyone has the ability to make that song their own. That's a special gift, to cover a song and own it. Like there's a few that we've heard throughout history where someone does a song and you're like, oh, Whitney Houston now owns I Will Always Love You.
Yes.
Right? But not everyone can do that with a song. But with their own song, right, they know exactly what their vibe is, so they can do that. And that's my favorite part of music, is hearing what someone creates.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. And the cover thing, it's fun to hear, like you say, somebody's interpretation of what a cover is, or even, I know I probably mentioned this earlier, just, hey, you know me from doing blah blah blah, but I like this artist. Maybe you wouldn't have guessed that I am a big Elton John fan, and I'm going to play an Elton John song or something like that. That's always
Right.
kind of fun. Dom on his show had played some really cool covers that are like, really? That I wouldn't have thought that would be a song for you, but he owned it, made it his own. It was fantastic. So, hope to see some of that on the coming Saturday
Yeah,
nights.
I want to see everything. So everybody come up and do everything that you're capable of doing. I want to hear all of it. I want to hear your covers, your originals, songs you haven't even tried yet. Yeah, it should be a fun time.
That's a great comment from Dom. I don't play covers. I play songs I wish I wrote. A lot of truth to that. I feel you.
Yeah.
If I was good, I would have written this, but somebody beat me to it 20 years ago. Or
Oh,
30
don't
years
you
ago.
hate that when someone writes a line that you're like, oh,
Oh, that's a
man,
great
I
line.
want
Why
that
didn't I think of
line.
that? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, I
totally.
can't use that now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. See, that's my first thought, and then my second thought is, can I borrow a little bit of that idea
Mm-hmm.
and make it, because how much of anything is totally original? I mean, I know you do some graphic stuff. Graphics is all just refining what somebody else has already done.
Mm-hmm.
have any particular, in my books and magazines, I don't know that I have any particular original ideas. It's just stuff that I like and I've seen, and I just put a little twist on it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And so those I don't have the thing at the ready. Um, but for those that don't know, I made little animation for us. I made little animal versions of me, Dom, and Chris.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
it's it's
I should
cheesy
have.
and fun.
Yeah, I should have grabbed I should have had you send those to me so we could share them. But yeah, he
So
Michael just had some fun with it.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to see if I can get the time. Some of the people that are going to pop up on the little showcase that we do at the beginning. See if I can make some animal versions of them. Find out what animal they would like to be, and make one for you. So yeah, any of you people that got the email and are gonna try to show up one of these weeks at the beginning and play a set, let me know your favorite animal or what animal you would like to be, and I'll make a cheesy little graphic for you that
There
we'll
you
put up
go.
right before you play.
Your own little cheesy graphic of your spirit animal, which is very cool. Yeah.
Mine is a giraffe, by the way, in case anyone even had a thought about that.
Yeah, I'm not even going to mention. I think everybody can probably guess what my animal is.
hmm
If not, show up Saturday, you'll find out.
Yeah, the fact that I didn't even have to ask to make it, I was just like,
Yeah,
I know
that's it.
what
He
Chris is
just
going to
did
be.
it. He just sent it to me. He's like, "Well, yeah, duh." And I loved it. It was amazing. Yeah. There you go. See, Axe wants to be a wolf. He's got his little
Nice.
icon there. Okay, that's cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, and this is a good point. We didn't have everybody's emails, so we sent out emails
hmm
to everyone we had emails for. Look, if you're ready to play a mini set, you just contact one of us and let us know. And again, we weren't. Hopefully, nobody felt slighted by that because we just didn't have everybody's email, and we asked. There,
Yeah, absolutely.
correct.
Yeah.
Chad Freeman guessed it. Doggone it. Well, way to ruin it.
Nice. Yeah. We reached out to the people that we already had contact for, and I'm sure as we do these the next couple weeks, other people that we know will start coming for that early part and get on that, and people that we don't know, hopefully, will just randomly see it pop up and start playing with us and
Yeah,
become part of the crew and start
exactly.
doing
The
sets as
goal
well.
here is to grow the live playing community. I mean, we
hmm
love all you guys' music and we love the videos and everything, but we want to grow the live. And the three of us, have had such a great time playing on G-May's show. When he said, "Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to be taking a couple months off," we said, "That's fantastic." And then our second instant thought was, "What the hell are we going to do with ourselves on Saturday night? We're not going to be able to see our
hmm
friends and we're not going to play. That sucks." I thought, well, okay, we'll do it. And then that's the basis for this show. So, all
Yeah, I
right.
mean, yeah, it's a good time. I love hanging out on those things. I can never leave, even though I know the next morning I have to do another live stream at 12 noon. I usually stay until the end of GMA and just take a
Yeah.
quick little nap.
Well, that's it. And you and Dom, God bless you. Yeah, because I mean, Michael does. In case you don't know, case you just came out of your cave, Bin Laden, Michael plays every Sunday and from noon Eastern
hmm
on, and he goes to bed at what 5 a.m. Eastern, or
hmm
a little later. So, and he's a road warrior. I'm done at 1 in the morning now. Of course, I'm all jacked up and I can't go to bed or anything. So I
Oh yeah,
gotta
you can't just walk off of one of those and go to sleep.
no. If as long as my ears are okay, then I'll get in my studio and I'll screw around till 2 or 3 in the morning. But
Mm,
yeah, because it's energizing. It's just fun to play and it's fun to hear everybody do their thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I'm gonna head off because I've been
Yeah,
out all night, and then Maria just got home, so we're gonna spend a little bit of time together. It was great to
togetherness.
chat with you. Yeah.
Yeah, if you missed the interview, go check it out and learn a little bit more about Michael and Maria and the fantastic music they create. But thanks for coming on and sharing a little of your process. I knew people would find that interesting, and they did. So thank you, my
Awesome.
friend.
Thanks.
And I'll
Yeah.
see you in 2. I suck
However
with
many
math.
days that is, I can't
Let's see.
count. What's
Today's
that?
Thursday,
2?
Friday, 2 days. Good Lord.
So
This
we
is
won't be
why
doing any math on the show. That's
no, I was told there would be no math. I love that line from 'cause that's why I married an accountant. I mean, I got a lot of skills. Mathematician ain't one of them. So, man's got to know his limitations. So, I know mine.
awesome.
All right, my friend. I will see you
Cool.
Saturday night. Thanks for coming up. I
Yep.
appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good night, Chris. Everybody in chat, good night. We'll see you on Saturday.
Sounds great. Hey, look at that. Who's in the chat right now? Rockin' Ronnie Ward, who finished his show just before our show earlier. It was fantastic. It's great seeing Ron back on. We missed him. There, and Facebook just put up, yeah, 6. Yeah, and Dom's exactly right. You play for 6 hours on Gmail and you're all jacked up. And there are times that we stay backstage and talk for hours because, and there, Speaka, that we've discussed you in nice glowing terms. And remember our rule, Hippie, we talk nice about people when they're not here. They show up and then we trash them. So, but just we're mentioning you and your show. And I mentioned that unbeknownst to you, you've health challenged me, and I'm looking to trim down and meet you at your goal weight at 200 in June, because your and I's birthday are within like a week or 2 weeks of one another. So it's great you're taking care of yourself, and I'm trying to do the same. Oh, who else? Yeah, we had a couple new people join us. So Shangy Girl, good to see you. Thanks for coming. And we were just talking with the great Michael of Michael's Songs, and a little bit about his creative process. And I always find when I'm not watching music things on YouTube, I'm watching people do woodworking, or I'm watching people weld, or whatever. I love the process of making things, be it songs, be it food, be it whatever. And so I love peeking under the hood of the creative process and just seeing how other people approach things, how they problem solve, the things that they go through. And hey, there's Conspiracy. Hey, what's up, Clay? Good to see you. So that's what we were discussing a little bit. And I'll get a little bit more in depth on my process. And what I'd love to see in the chat is for you guys to, and especially you folks that write original music, what's your process? What do you start with? And Michael had mentioned, it's a little variable for him. It's also a little variable for me. But like I said, I tend to start with a hook. Something will stick in my mind, and I'll work from that basis. And this song that I just submitted for the cancer benefit album, I knew that I wanted to have this concept of being positive. When I was undergoing cancer treatment, I went, and after a while, and this is going to sound morbid, and I hope people don't take it this way, but I was in there and I could see who was going to make it and who had given up and who was just going through the motions for their family or whatever. And I mean, that's legit. There are times that, you know that you're at the end of the road. So I don't fault anybody, and I'm not judging anybody for that. But I wanted to, especially for young people, send a really positive message as much as possible. And the positive message is, okay, this is unfair. You're in the hospital. You're dealing with cancer. You're a kid. You shouldn't have to deal with this. But guess what? Life ain't fair. But you're going to make it. You're going to be okay. You're going to do these treatments. You're going to get through it. You're going to walk out the door. And so that was my mindset for doing this song. And let me just, I'm going to go ahead, and because I've got it up and I think I should be able to share this. This is live. We'll see if this works or not. Share screen. Share window. All right. So here is my DAW, and hopefully you can see it. I don't know if you can because it's probably pretty small, but I've got the lyrics on the right-hand side. And, I came up with this chorus about being stronger. And, you're going to win the fight in every day, in every way, stronger. It won't be long till you get home. And that's what I started with. That was my hook. I only go to it actually once in the song, but it's repeated, and I think it's powerful enough to get that message across. And then addressing, having been a football coach and a hockey coach and everything, and working with young people, one of their things is they're big on fairness. I think it takes young people a while to accept that life isn't fair, because it just isn't. So I wanted to address it. I wanted to acknowledge the things that they were feeling. So this line down here, if you can see it, it's fair to ask, why did this happen to me? And I think everybody who's had a disease or cancer, that's the inevitable question. As humans, you ask, why me? Well, if you ask why me, then you have to do the opposite and say, well, why not? Maybe you have bad genetics. Maybe you were exposed to chemicals. Maybe, who knows? It just is what it is. And that's what I addressed that with the next line. Look, there's no good answer that I can see. It isn't fair. It isn't right. But all we can do is put up a good fight. And I sang a good fight, and I realized that I didn't write good fight. And I do try and keep my lyrics in this way, because when I put it up on Bandcamp, I like to include the lyrics. I think people like lyrics. I'm going to stop this sharing. Hopefully everybody could see that. I don't know if you could or not, but anyway, that's kind of the process that I went through on this particular song. And I don't know if I'm happy with the song for this reason, because I had an idea, and I was able to execute it and get it on this album, which was my goal. And that, for me, was a huge win. It's not for me to judge if the song is good or not. Other people will. But it was success in my mind because I did what I'd hoped to do with it. And I think as an artist, that's one thing you have to take that as a total victory. That if you have something in your mind and you're able to see it through to fruition, that's cool. You've won. So, exactly right. Good fight, eat good. Eat good, be good. All right. Okay, that's fantastic. And I've heard a couple tracks off this. I haven't heard Ron's, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what people in the community did, because we've all had experiences. We all have little different viewpoints on things, and it will be cool to see, how many of us addressed exactly the situation, or in more general terms, or just where everybody was coming with that. Let's see, I've got to scroll back up because I think Ron, yeah, here, I wanted to put this one. So Ron Ward, of course, is quite the songwriter and has done many songs with both his band Strange Machine and his things he's done with Brian Bigler and solo. So get in the right mood and start playing chords. Well, I think that's getting in the right mindset is really important. And again, I'm not a great guitar player by any stretch, but I noodle on the guitar pretty frequently, just, again, in hopes that I'll find that little bit of lightning in a bottle and get a progression that I kind of like, or a little riff. And, hopefully I'm where I'm close to my DAW and I can quick capture it. Now, for those of you who have iPhones like I do, you can capture it anywhere. And one of these days, I will actually learn how to use GarageBand on my iPhone. Even though I've been watching Jade for 2 flippin' years, I'm dumb as hell and I can't figure it out. But the tools are there, folks. Then Ron says this, sometimes a hook pops into his head. Well, there you go. And just, when lightning strikes, you want to capture it. And, you know, however you do that, however that works for you. So there you go. That's a great way. And again, like everything else, it's a process and it's a journey. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. I think Jeff was asking how Dom was doing. And so Dom was, yeah, he was doing good and then not so much. So he's getting there. Let's see, there was something else I wanted to say. There it is. I think that stream of consciousness is an excellent way to capture. And I guess I have a slight advantage in that I write for a living. I've been writing for a very long time, so I can pretty quickly pull things out of my head and get them down on a piece of paper. But again, it's just practice for having done that for a long time. So. And I think that's axiom. I think as we've discussed, I think that's probably there's no one set way to do it. And even watching, you know, professional these songwriting people on YouTube and everything, you know, there's some tools to help you along the process, but there's no right way, wrong way to do it. You just have to have an idea, and there are ideas everywhere. So however you want to start. Well, and that's the thing, you know, that was kind of my message. I wanted to write basically a cheerleader kind of power rock anthem. Yeah, I think I did that. Or I didn't. I don't know. But one way or another, it's on the album. And no. Yeah, see, Warren is there's our harmonica guy. And yeah, he just kind of makes it up as he goes. And I'm a fan of improv. I did stand-up improv comedy for a while, and it's fun. It's also terrifying because, man, you talk about working without a net. Yeah, and I think that's and there's a whole lot involved in that. Hey, Indy, how you doing? Raid from Avoids. Okay, do we have the raid? Hey. Development. Good to see you, man. And I'm your Huckleberry. Good to see you. Well, very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. And again, this is just a call to the community. Be creative. Keep writing. That was the whole basis of starting Songwriters Anonymous, is to give us a way to bounce ideas off one another, refine the ideas and everything, and you know, be a little bit critical, but in the proper environment. Anybody can be critical. That's often not helpful. Being critical with focus, saying, "I hear this. This could be improved." Dom, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I mentioned that you had helped me refine a lyric on this song that I've been talking about, "Stronger." Which made it a little bit better. And I think that's good. And I'm with you, Dom. I would love to hear what David from Live to Fly channel is coming up with. I very much enjoy the songs that he does and his covers and everything. He's got a great style and everything. I love to hear some of his original stuff because I suspect it's going to be really cool. Group fast. I don't know what that means, but so that's either 100% right or you're 100% off base. I don't know which, but it's one of those. So let's see what else we got in the chat. Yeah, and I'm highlighting some of because we're talking about creative stuff in this, so I'm going to highlight those comments mostly, and we can kind of talk about that. And I think this part is really true, and I mentioned it earlier. I think that's one of the great things about playing live is some of the songs that I've already recorded, I don't play them exactly that way anymore because I've made the lyrics better or I've changed the cadence a little bit. And on some levels, I prefer the live version because it's probably the best version of the song that it could be. Now, am I going to go back and re-record and revisit these songs? Nah, that ain't going to happen. Because when you do record something, I think people need to be okay with this is what I did at this particular point in time. I captured the magic. Here's what it is, and boom, we're done. We're going away. We're having a nice day. And even if you come up with something better later, my attitude is, it's a piece of history now, and I'm moving on. And I'm doing something different. And this is a good point. And I'm not sure you could. Well, if you're in Nashville and you're going to do the same formulaic crap over and over again, and it's going to be the same crap song over and over again, and people are going to buy it for whatever reason, then okay. But I think for us as independent artists, I don't know that we could do it the same way every time. Even I don't think I could if I wanted to. But luckily we don't have that problem because we can't probably. Hey, Latina and Cali, welcome. Good to see. I don't believe we've seen you on the program before, so thank you for joining us. And I say us because even though it's just me up on the screen, Dom is here, he's in the chat, and he's in our hearts. So I'm not, even if I'm up here solo, I'm not up here solo. Hey, harmonica, that's a cool instrument. I love the sound of that. And as Michael said, there's no rules in songwriting. The only rule is there's no rules. You can do what you want. You get to write your song your way. And of course, SWA's #1 motto, it's your song. You can take the suggestions, you can leave the suggestions, you can do whatever. At the end of the day, it's your song. Do what you feel is right. No, that's cool. See, again, everybody's got to have their skill set. And again, Doc is a great guitar player. All right, now we're saying hi, Pookie. I don't know if I've seen you before. Welcome. It's good to always see you in the chat. Yeah, we got some new folks coming on. Well, I appreciate that, and yeah, I gave Axiom some suggestions, and again, following our rule, your song, do what you want. Here's the things that I hear. Do with them what you will. And Axiom very much received it in the spirit was given. And I heard progress and progression every time he sent me a version. And that's what it's all about. Just us helping one another get better. Yeah, constructive criticism is great. And again, there's some caveats to that. Some people do it well. Some people honestly ask for constructive criticism, but there are times when, if you know the person, maybe they're not really asking for criticism or constructive, they just want to hear that their song is great. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody needs affirmation, but again, if you're asking for constructive criticism, hopefully you're prepared to receive it, and you might not like what you hear. And then it's up to you to think that over and go, okay, I get it, but I disagree with their mindset, so I'm going to do it the way I'm going to do it. Or hear it in that, you know what, they heard something I didn't hear. This could be better, and I'm going to go back and work on it. And I think it's important to, I appreciate that Ron counts me as one of those people that he feels comfortable with sharing some of his stuff in early versions. And I think it's important for people to have somebody that you trust and you feel like has your best interest in heart that you can share stuff with. And even in Songwriters Anonymous, I don't put everything in the general group of 25 or however many people are in the group right at the moment. There are times that I will just send it to Dom, or I will just send it to Dom and Nea, or in this last song, just to Dom and Michael, and get their thoughts before I just throw it out there to everybody. And yeah, you know who you are. I'm getting behind in the chat probably. Yeah, I think that has valid. And again, I think it also depends on the person. You know, if you were a young person and you liked creative writing and you enjoyed that class, or if you did poetry, I think maybe that gives you a little bit of a leg up on it. But maybe not. You know, there are people that can write great songs and great lyrics that they don't consider themselves writers or poets or anything else. They just figured out what works for them. Hey, here's something from development. I gotta say, now I couldn't get on the stream, but I saw it pop up and I wanted to get on the stream, but I had to be someplace else. For those of you who don't know, Development Avoid said, hey, I'm gonna write a song, come on, help me with the lyrics. That's cojones clanking together, and big props for you. I think that's good. Personally, I probably have a little too much control issues to do that. You know, I would be very accepting of tweaks, but to do it in that way, maybe I don't know that I would be comfortable doing that. But I think that's fantastic that you did that. And again, multiple minds are probably better than just one, so I bet that was probably pretty cool. That's a good question. I probably backed away from the mic. Am I low? And I think I asked this earlier. I felt like I was a little hot at the beginning of the show, but let me know in the chat if it's a little low or if it's a little hot. Yeah, some people do. Some people want to go back and perfect it and make that, and God bless them. I get to a point and I'm done. How far behind in the chat am I? All right, there you go. The truth, the whole truth. You can't handle the truth. Actually, Axiom can. So God bless him. Very cool. All right. Oh, I think I'm finally caught up. All right. That's funny. Okay, well now that's very affirming to me, because Avoid says, look, I'm a control freak too, but I stepped out of my comfort zone and I tried something and it worked. All right, well, that was the whole point of having this creativity discussion, is thinking about your process, and maybe you need to shake up your process. Especially, I know that you guys get stuck. I've been stuck. Any creative person gets stuck. They get blocks, they get whatever. And if you're in one of those ruts and you don't feel like things are coming well, then I think, to Avoid's point here, try something different. Do something that you're maybe not comfortable with or you haven't tried before, and just doesn't see if that breaks the log jam a little bit. All right. Llama smoking marijuana. Okay, there you go. See, Tom has always got lyrics. Talking about my mama. Well, that's a very cool thing. Mr. Smith, good evening/morning to you. I think it's got to be like stupid late at night or stupid early in the morning, depending on your perspective. But thank you for joining us. Always good to see you. We're talking about the creative process. Mr. Smith has a great creative process. He's got a couple bands, and he's got a couple different methodologies. I love Mr. Smith's stealth collaborations, where he takes a song that he likes in the community and basically enhances it, adds vocals, adds guitars, drums, whatever he feels like would enhance the song. The last one he did with Folk and Blueser, I thought was amazing. Why am I blanking the name of the song? Down in Alabama, where they're in the haunted motel. Doggone it, I'm blanking the song title. But it was a great folk and blueser composition. I loved it the first time I heard it because it was so evocative and told such a great story. And then Schmitty grabs it and adds drums and adds guitar and does some backing vocals and just makes this evocative song absolutely epic. And that was tremendous creativity. And highly respectful of the original artists and their treatment of the song, which I think that right there is a tremendous skill. And I give Mr. Smith huge props for that. I've seen that with every time he's done this with somebody. It's unbelievably respectful to the original artist's vision, but it just takes it to a different level. I think it's outstanding. Schmitty, you might get the sense I kind of like what you do, bro. Well, that again, working well on the net can be fun. Yeah, CRS. And I've got a really good memory on a whole lot of things, but every once in a while I'll have the gears in the brain get some sand in them and they lock up. And I am just not thinking of the name. I probably, we had Michael on and I can sing probably most of Michael's songs. I'm not sure I could tell you some of the titles. I'm just, certain things register and certain things don't. Oh, but there, speak of the folk and blueser. You speak of him and he appears. So very cool. And I know you're at work, Al, but we're big fans of your work. And thank you for joining us on the show. And thanks for listening. And thanks for your music. Appreciate it. I don't know if you're working Saturday night, but join us Saturday and come on and play a set or, play a couple songs. We'd love to have you join us on Saturday. Elizabethtown Ramada. I knew it was the name of a motel. I kept thinking Holiday Inn. Thank you, Pookie. Appreciate it. Yeah, what a schmuck. Yeah, and I think that's exactly the thing. It's just like I said, it's respectful of the original thing, and I think it's great. So, well, some it's the opposite. You don't say or think of some, and they're there anyway. But all right, excellent. Looking forward to it, and bring your lovely wife. So that's what's going on Saturday. I have about exhausted the things I had to say about creativity. Now, if you guys have anything else that you want to share in the chat, feel free, or we can make a switch. Maybe I will play a video and go fill my coffee cup back up, and then we'll come back and we'll go to a different topic. It depends on where you are, Mr. Smith, because we run this on both my channel and Dom's channel. Some of the people are in my chat, some of the people are in Dom's chat. So depending on which chat you're in, you're not probably seeing all the chats. And I haven't mentioned that for 30 minutes or so, and I forget to do that. So that's why. One of these days, StreamYard will pull the two chats together and it will make more sense. But right now we're kind of on impulse power. Hey, Gary Hubbs, how are you? Hubsy does a late Saturday night thing that's kind of fun. He goes out in the parking lot and does his thing in the middle of the night because he's Gary Hubbs. And I think he owns the parking lot, or at least pays rent on it. But you get after you play live, then let's go hang out with Gary Hubbs on Saturday. So, yeah, let me get a little something going. I'm going to queue up a song from, and it's going to take me half a second. I apologize for that. But I'm going to go get on our community playlist, and I'm going to pull something that we like and give that a spin real quick, and then I'm going to go pick up a little more coffee. And because I've been yapping for a couple hours now, and my throat's getting a little tired. And I do this every single week. We've set up, all right, there it is, 10 totally awesome songs from the community. hey, we're going to start with, I don't know what was coming up first, and it turns out it's Frank Terzo. So let me go to that and fire that bad boy up, and we'll listen to a little Frank Terzo, and I will be back in just a minute or two.
I was drawn to a rainbow. Take me there to the miracle. Share the land as it lends itself. Hear the sea as she speaks to you. Let the skies shine on you. And let the mountains be your body, yeah. You beginning colors of passion. This is hope for a new world. Drawn to a rainbow. Preachers preach with bloodstained hands. Leaders lead sinister hypocrites. They talk in circles with meaningless platitudes. Heavens on earth, and the new day will come, and the storm will succumb to the beauty of the rainbow. I was drawn to a rainbow. Take me there to the miracle. Greater the storm, the more that we lose, the harder we fall.
And there's our friend Frank Terzo with Drawn to the Rainbow. And a perfect segue to the next little thing. Talk about a little bit on collaborations. Now, again, unless you just climbed out of your cave, everybody's familiar with Frank's song Save Me, which he invited members of the community to collaborate with him. Basically, take his song, do something with it, do it in their own style, do their own video, whatever. Many people have taken him up on that. And matter of fact, I'm thinking, because I heard something in that I think I want to take a little different twist on it. I got to get a hold of Frank and ask for the stems. But let's talk about collaborations for a few minutes. There's Hugh Caldwell has been in the stream. Hugh Caldwell is the collaboration king. I mean, he's my boy, right? He's worked with me on both covers and originals, and I love having Hugh on my stuff. And he's worked with, well, hell, I think Hugh's worked with pretty much everybody. But there are other people. Obviously, Mr. Smith was in the chat, still is. Mr. Smith has worked with a number of people and is very open to doing collaborations. So let's talk a little bit about, how we all get hooked up to do collaborations. And I think the main thing is if there's an artist in the community that you like or you feel like their style and your style match or whatever, just reach out and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing X, or I'd like to work with you. I appreciate your songwriting. I appreciate your guitar playing. I appreciate your vocals, whatever it is. Vocals, JDL has sang with a whole lot of people. And yeah, Hugh gets around, but he's not that kind of guy, so don't get the wrong idea. But there's a... That's funny. There's a whole lot of people that, are happy. Yeah, blame it on Lori. I always do, because I think a lot of this can be blamed on Lori. She is the collab queen. And now I've worked with Lori twice now, 3 times. I've lost count. It's at least twice. Because she's fun to work with, and she just brings a fun positivity. So it's a hoot for me. And at some point, I'm going to get Lori involved in one of my originals, which she hasn't done a whole lot of, a little bit. She started, which I think is fantastic. But here, I love what Lady Campion says here. Music is better with other people. It just is. So it's fun to do that. Here, Preston, I'd like to do more collabs. So hey, you need some guitar, some bass slinging, get a hold of Preston Smith. So I'm a big, and Hugh is still here. See, Hugh. And of course, Lord Spike. Slinging, let me say hi to Lord Spike in person. Thank you for joining us tonight. Always great to have you on the program. And thank you very much for providing links. That's a weak part of my game. With everything else going on, I have trouble grabbing links. And, guys like Hippie make it look easy. It ain't easy, folks. But I think collabs are a great thing. Kind of how Dom and I got started and how we developed our friendship is we're in this group, and this was actually really before Songwriters Anonymous even started. And we ended up being on a collab with, 5 or 6 people. And it was fun. It was an original song. We all did it. That was cool. And then he and I started collaborating a little bit. I'd play bass for him or make suggestions, and next thing you know, he's one of my best friends in the world, and we've worked together a lot, and I'm a big fan of it. I think, again, it takes you out of your comfort zone. Most of us, not all, but most of us have band experience, and so we're used to that environment. But this is not the same, because there's not... Bands have egos and weird dynamics sometimes, and I've not encountered any of that. And I think part of it is, you're not in the same sweaty, smelly rehearsal space. You're in the comfort of your own place in your studio, and you're sending stems back and forth. And maybe it's just a better work environment. But I have found it to be a very rewarding experience, and I'm a big fan of people doing it. So again, if there's somebody out there that you think would be fun to work with, just, many of them have their email on their channel. If not, go through a friend of a friend or whatever. We all know each other in some way, and you can always get a hold of somebody. Might take a week or two, but somebody always knows somebody's email or a way to contact him. And I'm promoting, again, more expanding the community, but bringing it together more tightly. And, I think when Frank puts out that song and says, guys, have at it, do some fun things. And I've dug every version I've heard of it. I mean, the song is good in its original form. Just if that's all he ever did, is like, here's my song, I would have gone, oh, great, Frank Turso, that's fantastic. But hearing how everybody else interpreted it, or what they added, or their twist on it, again, it allowed their personality to shine through, and I just thought that was fun and fantastic, and I'm a fan. So, and I'm just keeping an eye on the chat. Yeah, I don't know. Am I even going to say hi to you, Pole Vault? I don't know. I feel like I should, but there you are. That's a good place too. I know where I got Pole Vault's number, and it was a worse place than the bathroom. I'll just tell you that. I'll leave it at that. Good to see you, Pole Vault. Pole Vault was my guest last week, and we chatted. It was fantastic having him on. Pole Vault is good people, and he's always good to have on the shows. He is a regular on the Rockin' Rabbit Holes on Sunday, the show that Chad Freeman and Clay from Conspiracy Music run. Pole Vault is a regular guest. DJ Nitro Blue is a regular guest. Development of a Void is on frequently. Who I've been on once or twice. I mean, they talk about a lot of stuff I don't know anything about. So for a good time, right? So and then they get this weird professor guy from Michigan that comes on, and I'm not. Half the time I think it's serious, and half the time I'm not sure. Anyway, but yeah, it's a fun show, and they discuss, like last week was, I caught the last little bit of it. Slender Man. Again, I don't know anything about Slender Man, but it's kind of a fun show, and these guys are all regulars on that. So let's see. Hugh made a comment. Oh, hey. Seriously, that's fun. I will say again, we talked about getting out of our comfort zones earlier. Clay and Chad 2 months ago said, we're going to do a karaoke show. And they both said, we'll sing karaoke. We've never done it before. People come up and do it. Well, it was pretty popular. People enjoyed doing it. I got on, I did a song or two songs, I think. 'Cause, again, I'd never done karaoke. And it was weird just singing. That was kind of out of my comfort zone a little bit. Not hiding behind the guitar, but they got out of their comfort zone and kind of got reward. And so here, look, now they did it again last week or the week before, and it went over good again as far as I can tell. And so now Chad's going to be actually singing, and Chad can sing, but he got out of his comfort zone. So that was very cool. Flugelhorn. Sometimes the comments are random and maybe there's a joke in there or something, but okay. All right, well, good. Good to know. Slender Man sent you. Well, you are Slender Man after talking about your eating habits. So I agree with this, Kurt. They're great guys and they're fun to have around. They run some cool shows. So, I'm clearly missing something on this, but okay. Flugelhorn twin. And I applaud you for that. And I think that's the righteous position to be in. push yourself as you nudge others out of their comfort zone. That's where the reward is, trying something different and stretching yourself a little bit. I think we all should do that as much as possible. Okay, I clearly missed a show or something. Hey, there she is, Jade Star. Had Michael on a little earlier. Fantastic interview, as you always do with him. It was fascinating to learn more about him, and you are the queen of interviewers. You're just so damn good at it. And man, that 2 hours flies by. It was just fantastic. So thank you that you interview artists and allow us to get to know them better. We really appreciate it, Jade. And there, see? I said it first, Hugh. Well, maybe I didn't, and I was just late on the chat, but yeah, here to stay. So, all right. So Hugh is having one of his, I'm just not going to bed. I'm just going to stay up and hang out, which is cool. Just you wait for the Britney show. Again, I barely know anything about Britney Spears. I can't say I'm a fan or anything. I'm glad she's not dead. Glad she pulled out of that weird nosedive she seemed to be in. But you got me curious, Chad. I'll be real honest. I'm gonna see what happened there. So I'm looking forward to that. So what else? Yes, I think we all agree. Michael's good people. Maria's good people. We enjoyed getting to know them a little bit. The old Slender Man. So there's a lot of inside jokes, and they are great. And I'm a big fan, especially when I'm in on the inside joke. But I miss the flugelhorn business apparently. So there you go, steak and salad. Well, we talked about, the hippie challenge. He's getting himself in better shape. I'm getting myself in better shape. Jade has also decided that needs to get in a little better shape, take care of herself. So she's out walking. She's been videoing, chatting while she's doing it. It's fantastic. I'm a big fan of walking. I'm a big fan of running, playing sports, but I don't play sports anymore. I'm a little too old for that. So walking is great. Yeah. Everybody loved the show. It was fantastic. Well, that's good. I think that's part of it because you're very good about making the guests comfortable, and it's clear that you're having a good time doing it, which makes everything really enjoyable. It's just, I don't know, it's must-see TV. And I mentioned I missed the first part of it because I was attending a funeral service, but I was there for the last hour and it was great. And I will finish watching the replay probably after this show because I probably won't go to bed right away. But and I'm just seeing if there's any of the other. Yeah, we know Chad's a Britney fan, and then that's okay. Again, I'm a fan of anybody who is successful and maybe runs into hard times, through their own fault or their circumstance. And I think Britney seems like, and I'm no expert, but seems like had a weird family dynamic, and all those former Disney stars had some issues. And I'm glad she pulled herself out of it and seems to. Okay. The professor plays the flugelhorn. Okay. Well, see, now I know. All right. I guess I missed that episode. And I'm way behind in the chat. I'm trying to highlight chat things, and I'm behind. I apologize. But, Yeah, well, Yeah, if you're not a big dude and you're having trouble getting your wind, yeah, have that looked into because that's not normal. Oh well, of course, yeah. No, we told him you would lovingly caress him and hold him like a baby and take good care of him, and he believed us. So, and you did. But yeah, it's just fun stuff. And I was telling everybody, I'm really looking forward, Jade, to starting to hear all the songs on the album that Russ has put together. That is an amazing accomplishment. And if I'm not mistaken, when you turn your song in today, right, or Russ will have your head, your song will make 44 songs on that album, which is a, it's a cool number, and B, just an incredible outpouring for the community, going beyond themselves to try and help other people. I'm a big fan. So, is Lori's Mishmash here, or are we just using her name in vain? Oh, she is here. Look at you, Mosh. I just said 10 minutes ago that I enjoyed doing collaborations with you. Now, now that you're here, again, my rule is we talk very nicely about people who are not here. When they show up, then we trash them to their face. So, it wasn't that great. No, I'm kidding. It was, Lori is fun. And what I said, and, because I'm pushing people, step out, do some collaborations. Working with you has been fantastic because it's just fun. You bring a fun energy to everything you do. I'm a big fan of it. If you watch Lori's videos and you're not smiling, having a good time, I don't know how to help you, folks. You should look into some antidepressants, perhaps. All right. Well, hey, if you lost 60 pounds, yeah, it's hard to lose a bunch of weight and keep it off. And yo-yoing, I had a good friend, and man, I watched this dude go bounce between 200 and 300 for years. Not healthy at all. It's, dump the weight and keep it off. And even if you're not dumping as much as you hope to dump, if you can keep it off for a period of time, and because your body's got to reset, it's got to decide what the new normal is, and before you can successfully keep it off for some time. That's been my experience. So, don't think about it and go, okay, did I have a bunch of cookies and gain the 10 pounds back? Well, don't eat cookies. So. Yeah, I bet you did. Jade, you naughty girl. One of the things we like about you, you're just a bit naughty. And let's face it, we all like naughty girls. Yeah, and again, Michael he's a quiet, soft-spoken guy, so that was what fantastic about getting to know him a little bit better. He and I are pretty comfortable with one another anymore because we hang out a lot. And so, I was happy to get him on the show and talk about his creative process, and he was able to do that. But, for the community at large, getting to know these people is wonderful. All right. So, do this, Mr. Smith. I know you've made the announcement, but please put in the chat your live stream information, because I was a huge fan of your live stream and came to it every time that I could. I just found it fantastic. Yeah, let everybody know when you're doing that. Oh, I missed. Yeah, here we go. 43. All right. Well, I think because I snuck one in last minute, and I don't know if maybe I was 42. I thought I was 43 and you would be 44, or I don't know. That doesn't matter. Plus 40. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, I think you might have misjudged that one, Avoid. I think an extrovert. Yeah, extrovert not. Maria, extrovert. Michael, less so. All right. Yeah, this is what I'd mentioned earlier. So yeah, everybody make sure that you're on Jade's show next week for the normal Thursday interview show, because release party of the album. Does the album have a name, Jade? Because we've all referred to it as the Russ album or the charity album and everything. But I'm wondering, if does it have an actual name? And I'm scrolling to make sure that I get some of the. Oh, I'm way behind in the chat. Well, talk amongst yourselves while I try and catch up and highlight things. I'm super behind in the chat. See, this is why it's good that Dom and I try to do the show together, because this is a lot for. I don't know how the hell Jeff does it. I don't know how the hell Jade does it, other than because it's beyond my meager capabilities to stay engaged in the chat, say interesting things, blah blah blah, all at the same time. Yes, yes, you fucking twit. Axiom, play your guitar. All right, I don't know if that helps. All right, there we go. So next week, the 21st, which is, I'm going to my calendar to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Yes, that is a Tuesday. So 6 p.m. Eastern Time for my time, which is a great time. So that is fantastic. And as has been mentioned, Chad mentioned it, but going to be on the show Saturday. So those of you who have been missing Mr. Smith, and I count myself in that group, we're going to get some more Schmitty, and I think that's fantastic. So not sure on the name. All right, well, when I know that the artwork will be terrific, and you'll let us know when you know. So that is fantastic. Again, I just think it's a great accomplishment to get that many people together and contribute to something like that. And looking in the chat, man, we've got lots of good stuff going on in the community, and that's just fantastic. It's just, I know that Chad Freeman had asked for like a little bit of gratitude video, which I think he's playing. I don't know if he's playing it Saturday or one of these days. I'm sure Chad will pipe in and correct me because I'm usually wrong. But I just sent him a short video and just said, I'm just grateful to be a part of this community. I've literally made friends all over the world. And, you know, COVID was really isolating for a lot of people. It was very isolating for me. I was cut off from my usual musical outlets. I played in church every Sunday, and then there was no church, and there was no place to play, and there was no, wasn't able to interact with my musician friends. And so I found this community and have made friends and have done all these amazing things with these wonderful people that I never would have dreamed of doing even 4 or 5 years ago. And so I'm just super grateful for that. That COVID period mentally was a very low period in my life for me. And now I'm living the dream. I'm having a great time. I'm out here talking to all of you wonderful people, and there's probably as many people watching the stream right now as ever watched on a Thursday night. And I thank each and every one of you. You're wonderful people, and I appreciate you being here. And I think, yeah, well, it's funny in that you say that, because I've always worked out of my home. So my life didn't change any. I went shopping, I bought groceries, I did everything that I normally do, worked at home. Now, of course, my wife and my son was living with me at the time. They ended up being home and working, and, you know, we had 3 floors, and I had my usual basement office, and my wife took the middle level, and my son used the upper level. So that was different. But going out for me was the Sundays when I went out, and, you know, I was basically there all day and played, and so it changed my world, and it changed my priorities on some things too. It forced me to look hard at a number of things, and I think it was a good experience in that it shaped, you know, priorities, and got back to doing what I really love to do. Is that the new drinking game? If I say fantastic, things are fantastic. I'm in a fantastic thing. So, drink up, Buttercup. That'll be the new drinking game, maybe. When I say fantastic or awesome, then, Lori has to take a shot. Hey, Tom Purcell, thanks for joining us tonight. I haven't seen you before. Yeah, I think it was hard for those of us who are extroverts. Introverts maybe dealt with it better on some levels. That may not be true. That may just be my perception. And I could reach out. I actually started doing live streaming, and it was work related during that period because, again, I couldn't go to shows, train shows, and meet people that way. So I started doing that. And so extroverted people can usually always find a way to reach out. And again, that's how I got in this community. I'm like, well, what do I do now? And I just got on the internet, and I had. I remember standing in a line, wearing a mask like a schmuck, at an electronics place to buy my input, my I/O device, which I hadn't had one before, and I'd always wanted to record on GarageBand. And when during the inconvenience, as Jade calls it, which I love that term, wanted to record and realized, okay, why can't I input sound? It's like, well, okay, now I need a device. So stood at the electronics store, bought a Behringer 202 or 222, whatever it is. Still works great. $150 well spent at that time, and started recording because I had nothing else to do. Again, I couldn't go play live anyplace, couldn't go out, and started getting on the internet and found Jade's show early on. It's like, oh, okay, so people use GarageBand and, learn some things. Found Pete Johns, found Patrick, found, there was another guy in England. He stopped doing it, but I learned a lot from him early on. Luan, something like that. I can't remember his name exactly. And then some of the other people, the band guy, and just realized that there was this whole community that was doing home recording and were interacting with one another. And it's like, okay. So I joined, I think, GarageBand Users Group and a couple other groups, and just started meeting people. And here we are today with this community that stretches across the world and is, pour one, fantastic. There you go, Lori. See, don't set me up like that, because I will run with it like nobody's business. Yeah, well, and again, I'm not a preacher kind of guy. People needed to do what they felt best to keep themselves safe, and there was so much information. I didn't feel like that was going to be particularly effective, and so, I did it when I absolutely had to, like for, taking my wife to doctor's appointments or anything. But again, I'm not going to get into any of that kind of stuff. People need to make the decisions that for themselves and the best way to handle that kind of thing. But I think we learned some things. If we didn't learn anything else, they don't tell the truth on big items. And so going forward, just a word to the wise, if you're hearing this message, look at it with your eyebrow up and say, is this really true, or are they lying to me again? Anyway. Ain't got sick yet. And again, you know what? People, do what you think is right to keep your, I basically did the opposite of what many people did, and I never got it. And, again, that convention that I just ran, I shook approximately 600 people's hands over the course of a couple days. But, eh. Well, Dogpaw's kind of an old guy like me is like, there's a lot of truth to that. Even when they weren't trying to, sometimes they were. Anyway, didn't want to particularly go down that rabbit hole. That is hopefully mostly ancient history, other than, something else will come along at some point. All right. Always good. Always good to hear Schmitty doing things. It's that'll be fun. And I am rapidly running out of topics on this show for this evening. We covered a lot of ground, especially for me solo. So if anybody's got anything in the chat that they want to throw up for discussion or promotion or whatever, throw it up, and we'll see where we want to go for that. And if not, I think what we'll do is we'll go for another 15 minutes or so, and then maybe that'll be a 3-hour stream, and that's probably pretty good. But it's great to have the late owls. I haven't said hi to Camila yet, and I apologize. I know you've been in the chat for a little while, so I'm sorry that I haven't called you out by name, but I'm calling you out now. Hi, Camila. Thank you for being here. Great to have you on the show and in the chat. And sprinkles, yeah, we know you love your sprinkles, but let's review a guy that just gained 10 pounds back after losing 60s. Maybe lay off them sprinkles, bro. Just saying. Lori is coming on. Coming on to you, Hugh, or, what are we saying here? Well, we know you like sprinkles, Chad. With glitter. Ooh. Chocolate sprinkles. As a big guy, I'm one of those people, I don't like donuts. I've never liked donuts. Not that I haven't eaten donuts, but it's one of those things where every once in a great while you go, there's a donut, somebody brought it in or whatever, and you have the donut. And I always think, why did I eat this donut? I don't like donuts. What the hell? And then I don't eat donuts for 7 or 8 months or whatever, and then I forget, and then I eat them again. Yeah, see, that's the frosting and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm not a big sugar guy, and most donuts are too sugary for me. But that's just me. And I know, yeah, Doc is going to say, yeah. Yeah, sugar is not your friend, as a rule. Yeah, I would have to hunt you up, and no offense, Warren, but it takes me too long to do that. If you're in one of our playlists, I could grab you, but I don't know that you are. And because we all needed to know this, let's all ponder this picture. Ugh. Thanks for sharing, Hugh. Sharing is caring, right? Although, in fairness, when Axe was on the other night, Dom was on, Michael was on, I thought about getting on, and I said, you know what? I'm in bed, no pants. I would have to find pants and go, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stay here in bed and just enjoy other people. So, yes, and it makes it a lot easier to change his ensemble. So, and he goes to a lot of trouble to paint himself green, which, that's dedication to the arts, folks. Yeah, because that's a lot of green paint. Hugh is a tall guy, so. Yeah. I think we can all agree. they're not great for you. But yeah, I don't. Do we really want that, Jeff? I'm just saying. I mean, I'm a fun guy and everything, but I know there's some members of the community that like to be free, and again, I'm not. You do you. I'm fine with that, but I'm not sure that. I think it would be distracting. Just gonna say. Uh, well, once or twice a meal. Yeah, I don't know about that, but well, I will say this: sugar may not be great for you, but the artificial crap that they substitute for sugar is absolutely positively terrible for you in every way. It just every really heavy person I know drinks diet soda with all the artificial sweeteners in it. So yeah, there you go. I missed, but certainly not a healthy alternative. No. I love bees, and well, it's not my wife and I, our whole landscaping is dedicated to growing plants and everything for bees and for other pollinators. So we get hummingbirds all summer long, we get bees. Even though it's getting wintry here, it's still warm enough that I have basically a specific bee drinking fountain that's got little rocks, and I keep the water in it so that they have a place to get a drink. And I keep at least 2 hummingbird feeders up with the water in, because the bees will hit it when they can't find flowers and get a little nectar that way. So this long-winded story is to tell you I am a fan of honey. Honey is really good. It's certainly a much better alternative to sugar or some other sweeteners. And because the bees are pulling local pollen and everything, helps with allergies. And they found honey in, the hell is ringing? They found honey in one of the pyramids or something, and it was still good. I mean, it's pretty amazing substance. Yeah, I don't know. Something is ringing. I don't know what's ringing, but it's kind of driving me nuts. I don't know if somebody's trying to make a call. It's not my phone. Hopefully, you guys can't hear that. If somebody in the stream is calling me, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, okay. Hold on. OMG, it's somebody who's drinking a shot. What are you doing? Who knows? I love honey. Honey. All right. I'm having a show. It's Lori on the other end. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. What I'm going to, yeah, hold on. What I'm going to do for you, dear heart, is shoot you a link, and then you can be a real person. Well, see? Yeah, well, again, people got me revved up. I said, let's talk about something, and then they got me going on sugars and sweeteners. Here, Mr. Smith, have eaten sugar? There we go. Greed makes anything a poison, and he's right. Well, Lori's on the other end. She says she loves sugar. We know that about it. People who consume as many peeps as she does, which I think are, we'll see. We'll see. I'll take the under on that. I will visit you in the graveyard, and I will miss you mightily, but I'm gonna outlive you. Just so you know. No, no roses, just kind thoughts. Sugar. Oh, you're too funny. All right, Sugar. Good night. Bye. Laura's mishmash, everybody. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not, but that was what the phone was ringing, and she wanted to say, "What are you going on and on about honey and sugar?" Well, that's what we've been talking about. So anyway, yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't send out the link to anybody, but yeah, she just called and just on the messenger thing and said anyway. And Dogpaw says, plants or for animals? Yeah, I like a little bit of both. I ain't gonna lie. But I said we were going to start wrapping it up, and I think we probably will. So let's review what we learned tonight. Honey is great. Sugar, maybe not so much. Kind of depends, but some people in the stream really like sugar. I think we all agree that artificial substitutes for sugar, not good. We learned a little bit about Michael's creative process. We learned about Jade's a great interviewer. We knew that. We also learned that next Thursday we're going to start hearing the charity album, the heretofore unnamed charity album, but it will be out. We'll start hearing the songs from that. That'll be fantastic. We've also learned that Saturday Night Alive, myself, Dom, and Michael Songs are going to be hosting that, and we're inviting all the people who play live to come on and join us, and while we kind of sit in for G-May while G-May takes a little bit of a break. So these are all the things we learned. That and many, many more things. Tomorrow night we've got request show on Clay and Chad's Friday night show. Saturday, heavy metal with Chad on Facebook. And then Sunday, Rockin' Rabbit Holes. And I don't know what the topic is this month or this week. But it'll be, they're going to go down a rabbit hole. We know that. So I think that's what I have to share. Any parting words in the chat that are not sugar related? All right. I'm not seeing anything that I think we probably necessarily need to share, and you folks can read it anyway, unless you're in my chat or the other chat, and maybe you're missing part of it. But that's what we have to talk about. We will be here next week, and Dom should be back joining us. He's getting a little bit better every week. Oh, okay. Here's what. Thanks, Chad. Well, okay. There you go. I'm going to use the Ouija board. That will be, well, that'll be a thing. Yeah, and that's the point. Which thanks for the reminder, Kurt. I've got to send him an email and go, yeah, I want to be on Winterset. And but yeah, G-May is not lounging. He's working hard on other projects, which is why he's taking a little break from the Saturday. The Saturday Night live stream for him has always been playtime, and it's fun for him and everything, but when he has to buckle down and do some other work things, he takes a little break, and that's what's going on right now. So just so everybody knows. And there you go. So you're saying there's a chance. There's always a chance. Okay. You know what? This is all starting to add up. Nobody stole Pole Vault's snacks. He ate his own snacks, and that's why he gained a little weight back. Could I be Columbo or what? Just one more thing. And I'm old and I actually know that show. So there we go. Hugh, you're a beaut. I love you. I love you, you bastard. Hugh's the best. And yep, our friend Camp G-May Good guy. We love Camp G May, which is why we're doing what we're doing, because we'd be lonely if we didn't see each other on Saturday night. So that's why we're playing on Saturday nights. All right. With that, on behalf of my co-host, who was in the chat earlier, Dominic Torregrosa, I am going to bid you adieu. I'm going to play you something. I don't know what I'm going to play you, but I'm going to go to the community page that Dom and I have and grab a community song that we like, and I'm going to play us out with something. Let's just see what might be fun. Well, we talked about this song earlier, and of course we love Schmitty's version, but let's do the original after this ad. Seriously? All right, I'm going to skip that. But let's listen to the original from our friend Folk and Blueser, and we'll get the holiday or the Elizabethtown Ramada. And 1, 2, hit it, hit it, hit it. And thank you all for being here tonight. You people are wonderful. Rock on. We'll see you on Saturday.
One summer night, riding out of Alabama, heading home, Michigan bound. Rain fell from the sky like a river, had to stop. No vacancy was all we found, and the southern rain fell like a river that night. Little did I know, soon a cold chill would run down my spine. So we rolled on 81 miles to Elizabethtown till we found a place to shut down. As soon as we walked in, my daughter started crying. Daddy, I don't want to stay here tonight. Daddy, I don't want to stay here tonight. I don't know what it is, but I feel scared inside. So I asked for a couple of rooms, and she said we don't rent the one next to us left. Said I'll take what you got, but when I asked her the reason, she said nobody ever said. So we took the keys and we went on our way, but made a wrong turn out the lobby, I guess. That turned out to be our second mistake after showing up at that desk. So we walked till we got to the end of the hall. No elevator was there to be found. Little did I know it was in that moment that I wouldn't be the same for a while. 'Cause my daughter was pointing in the other direction, and not as far as I could tell. When she finally spoke, sent a chill on my spine, and this is what she said. Why is that old woman walking the hall there in an evening gown? She's walking up to every table, moving all of the flowers around. Said, baby girl, ain't nobody here, it's just you and the family. She said, Daddy, she's standing right in front of me. Well, I tried to shrug it off, we were just tired. I picked her up, walked to the room, but as I walked down the hall, felt something creeping on me. I turned to look, and there was no one around. And as I walked down that hall, I never felt so scared of something I couldn't see. So we opened up the door, looked inside, the coast is clear. got settled in, and I looked down at a card that said, "Welcome to Elizabethtown." And as I looked around that room, something still didn't feel right to me. And to top it all off, door on my side of those two rooms wouldn't latch for me.